Chapter 1, The Sky is Starving. Welcome to Synapse Daily. Imagine New York City in 1968. The air smells heavily of diesel. Concrete jungles stretch toward the horizon. People are crowded and very hungry. Productive farmland is disappearing very fast. Massive cities consume everything in sight. Wild nature feels like a distant memory. Our planet's soil is exhausted now. Harsh chemicals poison our daily bread. Global population numbers are exploding rapidly. We clearly need a radical systemic change. Fresh food must grow inside glass. Cold steel will replace the dirty ground. The future is definitely vertical today. Can we finally feed the high clouds? What if urban buildings breathed green? The revolution starts right here, right now. High-rise farming is officially born today. The city streets are too narrow now. Trucks bring food from faraway lands. Fuel costs are rising every single day. Families struggle to find fresh green lettuce. The concrete hides the dying natural world. We forgot how to plant a seed. Steel giants dominate the gray New York sky. But one vision changes the entire game. A tower of life amidst the gray. This is not just a simple building. It is a lung for the city. It is a promise for the children. Nature is tired of the horizontal life. It is time to climb the walls. The sky is starving for real life. Chapter 2, A Visionary Stream. Architects looked up at the bright stars. They saw long rows of green lettuce. The year was 1968, precisely. A bold new concept emerged back then. New York City was the perfect canvas. One man stood far above them all. His name was the visionary Glenn Nelson. He hated the flat, dusty horizon line. Land is a very limited global resource. Gravity is just another engineering challenge. He drafted a truly massive glass tower. Clear walls faced the burning morning sun. Hydroponics were his secret technological weapon. No heavy soil was needed in here. Just nutrient-rich and flowing fresh water. It looked like a giant glowing crystal. A monument to modern human survival. Dreams often defy the heavy Earth's pull. Nelson drew lines on blue paper daily. He imagined gardens in the dark clouds. The establishment thought he was totally crazy. Plants belong in the dirt, they said. Nelson ignored their tired, old-fashioned voices. He calculated the weight of every leaf. He measured the angle of the sun. Manhattan needed a brand new miracle. The blueprint showed a vertical paradise. Every floor was a different climate zone. Strawberries in the middle of the city. Corn growing high above the yellow taxis. This was a map to tomorrow's world. The pencil moved with pure clinical precision. A dream was becoming a solid plan. Chapter 3, The Glass Cathedral. This tower was truly and incredibly massive. 30 floors of pure, vibrant green life. Imagine a glowing, giant emerald pillar. It stood proudly near the Hudson River. Each floor had a very specific purpose. The bottom level held the massive pumps. Top floors caught the strongest solar light. The exterior glass was ultra-thin and light. Engineering finally met organic life right here. Internal climates were very strictly controlled. Tropical fruits grew during snowy winters. Imagine fresh oranges in Manhattan each January. The entire structure hummed with hidden life. Automated belts moved the heavy plant trays. Light danced beautifully on wet, green leaves. It was a massive, living biological machine. Beauty met cold, hard, and sharp logic. Nature finally climbed the long urban ladder. The ceilings dripped with recycled water mist. Visitors gasped at the vibrant green sight. It felt like a church for science. The air inside was sweet and oxygen-rich. Outside, the city was loud and gray. Inside, the silence was perfectly organic. Giant fans circulated the humid forest air. Steel beams supported the weight of water. It was a masterpiece of glass design. A cathedral where the sun was priest. People looked up in total silent awe. The future smelled like fresh rainy earth. Technology protected every single fragile sprout. Chapter 4: The Physics of Growth. How do plants stay perfectly upright here? The tower used innovative rotating metal racks. Every single leaf saw the golden sun. Sensors tracked every single drop of water. Nutrients flowed through long, plastic veins. Carbon dioxide levels stayed very high throughout. Plants grew twice as fast as normal. Pests had no physical way to enter. Pesticides became a dark, forgotten past. The water was recycled and cleaned constantly. Absolutely nothing went to waste in there. Gravity helped the complex drainage systems. Electric pumps fought the massive height daily. The energy cost was unfortunately quite immense. Could the city power this artificial life? Logic struggled against the distant natural sun. Shadows were the silent, creeping enemy. Math decided the exact plant harvest date. The light spectrum was carefully tuned now. Blue light for the strong, thick stems. Red light for the blooming, colorful flowers. The roots hung in the moist air. They drank the mist like thirsty animals. Computers monitored the pH levels every second. One error could kill the whole crop. The physics were delicate and very complex. Height creates pressure in the long pipes. Valves hissed as they released the steam. Life was reduced to a perfect formula. The building breathed according to the clock. Nature was trapped in a digital cage. Chapter 5: Manhattan's Hungry Heart. New York City was rotting from the inside. Massive trucks clogged every single narrow street. Fresh food arrived very old and extremely tired. The vertical farm offered a brand new freshness. You could pick a red tomato at noon. You could eat it at exactly 12:05. There were 0 miles from farm to table. The logistics of this were a total dream. No more massive, smoky highway truck convoys. No more rotting crates in dark warehouses. The city finally became its own food producer. Urbanites slowly turned into high-rise farmers. The concept was pure and social magic. Could a single building finally cure urban hunger? The entire neighborhood watched the bright lights. A strange pink glow filled the dark nights. It felt quite eerie yet very hopeful too. Manhattan desperately needed this fresh green soul. The concrete was hungry for real nutrients now. Children looked up at the glowing glass tower. They had never seen a real cornstalk. Now, the corn grew above the subway lines. The smell of basil drifted down the streets. It fought the smell of hot trash. The tower was a pulse in the stone. It brought life to a dead steel grid. Every floor was a gift to the city. We were no longer just passive consumers here. We were part of a living, breathing cycle. The heart of New York beat in green. Chapter 6: The Economic Wall. Vision always meets the brutal, cold bank. Money was the tallest and hardest hurdle here. Glass is very expensive and fragile stuff. Steel prices were rising incredibly fast in 1968. Heating 30 floors is a very costly task. Pumping water requires huge amounts of power. Traditional flat farms were still much cheaper then. Land in Kansas costs only a few pennies. Land in New York City costs pure gold. Investors laughed loudly at the detailed plans. Cabbages and skyscrapers, they asked with a smirk. The complex math simply did not work out. Human labor costs were far too high then. Automated robots were still just science fiction. The beautiful dream started to crack and fade. Rich wallets closed tight against the green. True innovation needs a very steady checkbook. Harsh reality bit the expensive glass very hard. Numbers on a page killed the green vines. The spreadsheets were colder than the winter wind. A head of lettuce cost $10 here. No one would pay that in '68. The dream was priced out of the market. Capitalism has no room for expensive air. The skyscraper was a luxury the poor needed. But only the rich could afford to build. The wall of gold was too high. The project stalled in a sea of debt. Chapter 7: The Silent Shadow. Sunlight is a very fickle and rare friend. Tall buildings cast long and very dark shadows. Other skyscrapers blocked the vital, life-giving rays. The tower needed massive amounts of artificial light. In 1968, electric bulbs were quite weak. They also generated far too much trapped heat. Efficient LEDs did not even exist back then. Powering a fake sun was nearly impossible. The plants at the very bottom simply died. They stretched upward for a tiny, golden glimpse. The design faced a very cruel physical paradox. A farm needs wide and open empty space. But the city is a deep concrete canyon. The dark canyon kills the fragile green crop. Engineers fought the cold and dark physics daily. Giant mirrors were far too heavy to mount. Shadows won the very first round of battle. Nature always demands the wide and open sky. The lower levels became a graveyard of plants. Yellow leaves fell on the sterile white floors. Without the sun, the magic simply vanished. Photosynthesis cannot be faked with old wires. The building was choking on its own darkness. The architects tried to move the sun's path. But the sun follows its own ancient laws. A farm in the dark is just a box. The dream of light was fading into gray. Chapter 8: Political Red Tape. City Hall was a confusing and dusty maze. Old zoning laws strictly forbade the urban farm. A building is legally for housing people only. A building is for quiet and professional offices. A building is certainly not for wet soil. Health inspectors were deeply and truly confused. Where exactly is the dirt, they asked often. Modern hydroponics scared the old-fashioned guard. They feared constant leaks and poisonous green mold. The city bureaucracy was a thick, slow swamp. Important permits vanished into very dusty files. Politicians only wanted quick and very easy wins. A vertical farm takes many years to grow. They preferred paved parking lots instead of plants. Short-term minds killed the long-term green goals. Bureaucratic paperwork strangled the young green vines. The law was built for flat, dead things. Human progress was built far too high. Lawyers argued over the definition of farm. Is a tower a field or a factory? No one had the right answer in 1968. The red tape was stronger than the steel. It wrapped around the glass and squeezed hard. Innovation died in a committee meeting room. The mayor looked away from the future. The past was safer and much more familiar. Chapter 9: The Social Experiment. Many people feared the fake lab food. Lab-grown sounded like a very scary threat. Would the carrots taste like cold, hard metal? Public trust was very low in the 60s. They wanted dirty and real mud-covered potatoes. Perfectly clean food felt suspiciously and deeply wrong. Angry protests formed near the construction site. They wanted low-income housing for families instead. Feed people, do not just house green plants. The social tension was thick every single day. Architects tried to explain the complex science. The public only saw rich and cold elitism. A green tower built only for rich kids. The social gap was very wide and deep. Misunderstanding is a very fast and deadly poison. The farm became a symbol of class war. Some saw hope, many saw only huge ego. Communication failed the entire green mission. The community felt left out of the dream. They saw glass but they wanted bread now. The experiment was failing the human heart. Science forgot to talk to the hungry neighbor. The tower stood lonely in a crowded city. It was a marvel without a single friend. Fear grew faster than the spinach leaves. The social soil was too acidic for growth. Chapter 10: Technical Breakdowns. The prototype soon faced a total, messy failure. Green algae quickly clogged all the thin pipes. Plant roots rotted in the stagnant, trapped heat. A single pump failure killed entire plant rows. Vibrant floors turned a sickly brown nearly overnight. High humidity warped the inner structural steel beams. Red rust became a silent, creeping metal killer. The thick glass fogged up almost constantly now. You could not even see the life inside. The Crystal Palace looked like a gray tomb. Internal oxygen levels spiked far too high weekly. Fire risks became a terrifying urban nightmare now. One tiny spark could end the entire dream. Proper ventilation was a losing, uphill battle daily. The biological machine was simply too complex here. Simple, natural dirt is actually very forgiving stuff. Advanced, pressurized plumbing is a cold, hard tyrant. Nature eventually rejects any tight, digital cage. Water leaked onto the expensive electrical control boards. Short circuits sparked in the humid, misty air. The automated sensors started giving false, wild data. Was it too wet or too bone dry? The computers did not have the right answer. The plants were drowning in their own sweat. The smell of rot replaced the sweet basil. Engineers slept on the cold concrete floors daily. They fought a war they could not win. The tower was a sick, dying green giant. Chapter 11: The 1970s Crash. The global energy crisis finally hit very hard. Oil prices went through the high city roofs. Electricity suddenly became a very rare luxury item. The farm's electric heart simply stopped beating then. Running the massive lights was now financial suicide. The ambitious project lost all its private funding. Detailed drawings went into dark, forgotten office drawers. The building site stayed a flat parking lot. The vertical dream was now officially declared dead. New York City moved on very quickly indeed. Other concrete towers rose in its place instead. Hard concrete won the long 1970s war. The vertical farm was almost completely forgotten now. A lonely ghost of a great what if. The world was clearly not ready for this. The supporting technology was born far too early. Cruel timing is always the ultimate, final judge. Dust settled slowly on the remaining glass models. The oil embargo strangled the city's bright lights. Luxury projects were the first things to go. The Green Tower was seen as a mistake. A relic of a decade that dreamed too big. The blueprints turned yellow in the basement files. Nature returned to the flat, distant country fields. The city stayed gray for a long time. We chose gas over the green sun's path. The dream slept under the heavy city noise. Chapter 12: Modern Echoes. Fast forward to our very busy modern era. Vertical farms are now a stunning, vibrant reality. We finally have the incredible LED light power. We have the smart, tiny AI climate sensors. Glenn Nelson's ghost is surely smiling broadly now. Singapore grows fresh lettuce inside crowded malls. London has lush farms in deep, dark tunnels. New York has green farms on every rooftop. The 1968 seed has finally sprouted today. We solved the ancient, difficult light spectrum problem. We finally solved the complex water flow math. The old failure taught us every vital lesson. Every single mistake was a necessary building block. We need these green towers more than ever. Rapid climate change is the sharp, stinging whip. Urban farming is no longer a funny joke. The failed past fuels our very bright future. The original concept never actually really died out. It just waited for the right digital tools. Software now manages the sun's golden path perfectly. We build what they could only dream of. The glass is stronger and the pump smarter. Data flows where the water once leaked out. We are the children of that first failure. The ghost farm is now a living reality. The sky is no longer a starving void. It is a garden for the new century. Chapter 13: The Vertical Legacy. So, what is the lesson? Bold ideas always face fire. They are called impossible first. Then they are called expensive. Finally, they are called obvious. 1968 was the brave start. It challenged the city's soul. It asked, can we coexist? Nature and steel can marry. The ceremony just took time. Look up at the towers. Imagine vines on every wall. Imagine a city that feeds. That is our coming reality. Thank you for listening today. Stay curious, stay hungry, Synapse. The future is always growing. Keep reaching for the light.